We're speaking with Eric DeCosta, Executive Vice President and General Manager of the Baltimore Ravens. Eric, you made a splash signing this offseason, which really isn't typical of the Ravens, with Earl Thomas. What about Earl attracted you? And talk a little bit about the off-the-field kinds of things that he brings to the table, to the team, that might fill in some of that leadership gap that may be vacated when Weddle and C.J. Mosley left.
Well, Earl, first of all, was a guy that we scouted at length coming out of the draft when he came out of Texas, and just a sensational football player, defensive player, really fits the mold of the traditional, Baltimore Raven type player. Playmaker, aggressive personality, fast, alpha, leadership on the field. We've played against him several times since he's been in the league. Always been very impressed with him, what he brings to the table in terms of secondary play, but also just total defensive play. And so, in looking for players that we thought had the chance to really impact our defense this year after we lost CJ and Suggs and Zadarius and Eric, I think Earl really stood out as the one guy that could come in and really not pick up some slack, but pick up a lot of slack. He's tremendous appetite for the game of football. His passion is quite evident. He's a playmaker on the back end with ball skills. He's a good support player. He's a blitzer. And he's a guy that other guys can follow. And so we're very excited about what he brings to the table. We had a chance to watch him last week compete a little bit. And just the one thing that we saw last week was his speed and his burst and his ability to accelerate the football. We're very, very excited about that. Most really good defenses have a player like him, and we think he fits us very well.
Now talk a little bit about how the tandem of him along with Tony Jefferson, because no disrespect to Eric Weddle at all, because he's a great football player for the Ravens, but it seems to me that Thomas and Jefferson are more complementary than Eric and Jefferson.
Well, I think Earl's a guy that can do a lot of different things. He can play in multiple roles. I think Tony can play in multiple roles as well, and I thought Eric could do that as well. There's certainly different types of players. Eric Weddle is probably one of my favorite players that we've had here, just from a personality, leadership ability, everything that he brought to the table in terms of a leader on the field, off the field, in the locker room, and then his ability as a football player. So with Earl coming in, obviously no two players are exactly alike, but having seen Earl, we love what he can bring on the back end as a high safety, as a low safety, his ability to play multiple spots, his ability to play very, very fast as a guy that can do a lot of different things for you. We just think he complements our defense extremely well. And with Tony's another guy that can be used in different roles. Both guys, I think, have great leadership ability as vocal guys who can get people lined up and also lead by example on the field. So we love our back end. I personally believe we have one of the deepest secondaries in football, and hopefully that really helps us win some football games this year.
Eric, another guy you brought in this offseason, Mark Ingram. He's got over 7,600 yards in his career from scrimmage, 55 touchdowns in 8 seasons. What attracted you most to Mark?
Well, we think he's a really good scheme fit for our offense. Some of the stuff that he did in New Orleans with their offense really kind of fits what we do. Again, a guy that we knew a lot about. We scouted him also coming out. He was a player that we really liked. And what's interesting about Mark is that for a guy as established in the league, he's a good fit for us because he hasn't really beat his body up quite a bit with a tremendous amount of carries. He's been in a part of a rotation. His best football has been probably over the last 4 or 5 years. He's a guy that before Alvin Kamara went to New Orleans, he was very much used in the passing game. He's got great feel as a route runner. That's a very underappreciated part of his game. He runs very hard. I think he's got vision. He's been a productive player for the most part. He's been a durable guy. And also a player that we knew a lot about with his Alabama ties. This is a guy that we felt like we knew inside and out personality-wise. We also had the chance to vet him using players like Willie Snead, Ben Watson, who know Mark extremely well. And it was very clear to us when we brought him in. Again, a great fit personality-wise. When we've had success with unrestricted free agents, oftentimes a big part of that is personality. And we saw that with guys like Brandon Carr and Eric Weddle and players that we bring in. If they've got the right kind of mentality, they're a great fit for us. And we think Mark is that type of guy.
During the second wave of free agency, when comp picks didn't factor in, You guys brought in Pernell McPhee, Ray, and Michael Floyd. Talk about the rationale behind all those signings.
Well, those things take place over a period of weeks and months, and some of those discussions really started even going back as far as April, before the draft, early April, talking to the agents, kind of gauging their interest levels. We try to find guys that, with some veteran leadership, some guys that have a history of good play, some intriguing guys. What do they bring to the table? How do they fit? Personality. We have the chance to really vet those players and get to know their personalities. And then look at the value. How much value could they conceivably bring to the team? What's their upside? What's the cost going to be? And in each case, with all three of those guys, obviously with Pernell, we knew Pernell. We know what he brings to the table. We love what he did last year, albeit in a small sample size of about 250 plays or so. We love what he did last year for Washington. We love his personality. He knows our scheme. He knows this building. And that was an easy move for us to make. In terms of Ray, he's a guy that has had a checkered career with injuries, but again, a guy that we scouted at length when he came out, and another skill set where this guy can play as a outside linebacker, as a sandbacker. He can drop, he can cover, he can rush the passer. He's got a good motor. We think he fits us very well. And Michael Floyd's a guy that is probably one of the better blocking receivers in the game. He's had some success over the years. He's also had some adversity that he's been able to overcome. We've got a relationship with him through one of our assistant coaches who coached him in high school. And so we know a lot about Michael. We felt like, again, it was a very low-risk sign. All three of these guys were kind of low-risk signings with high upside. We're excited about it. And, as you alluded to, all three of these guys were good signings because they don't count against the comp pick formula. So they, have the chance to bring some veterans in. It was very attractive to us.
This summer, enjoy the outdoors, but go see your Toyota dealer first. Get an off-road ready Tacoma now with $1,000 cash back. Or pick a half-ton Tundra and get 0% APR for 60 months. Or go in style with a rugged 4Runner, ranked top 10 in resale value by KBB.com. Get the most out of your summer with a new Toyota truck. And let's go places.